an IT consultant, solution architecture, in Sydney. So I've been working in that industry for 30 odd years. So I do a few things as a hobby, like playing music and things like that. So to keep my brain active. So
I'm a marketing specialist, and I'm finishing my PhD in creative writing.
We had been talking to our, I guess you'd say, regular financial advisor for quite some time about finances, and got to a point where we had a deposit saved. So we initially got some advice from him, and it just didn't feel right. It didn't sit with us. And then I remembered I had previously worked with Sanjeev for an IT consulting company, and I remembered he had set up a property investment company, and I'd been subscribed to those and been seeing those for a while, but hadn't really thought much about it. So I actually thought, well, I should reach out to him. So I reached out to Sanjeev, and we just started a conversation. The regular advice we got just didn't feel quite right. It was almost all or nothing. Put all your eggs in one basket. Just go and buy an expensive unit in Sydney and just sit on it. It just felt a little bit risky with the interest rates going up. So it was a good reason to actually go and talk to Sanjeev and say, well, what are your thoughts on this? We really didn't know much about investing, so we sort of weren't going to just go off and look at the market ourselves. So that was the initial reason.
It's been a really good run. The biggest stress we've had was the research, what to look for. We don't know anything about investing, so it was a big stress factor for us, all these looking for stuff. So working with Investors Dream, and this is what I've been telling my friends, like, we didn't lift a finger. You did all the research for us. You knew what to do. You knew what to look for. It was such an easy process that afterwards you kind of thought, like, was that it? Sort of, it was almost like, it was so much easier. There was no stress. All transparent, constant communication. You answered our questions
anytime we had any concerns.
Panic attacks.
We were already flat out busy, so there was no way we could have done a fraction of that on our own, and could have made mistakes. We were already getting conflicting advice from our regular advisor that didn't make sense to us. So it's been so easy, and anything we were not sure about, we were able to ring Sanjeev and say, hey, I've heard this, what are your thoughts? Or we've seen this come in. What's the steps in the process? There's so many steps to actually putting in an offer, let alone settling a contract, and then even the things that come after that. It's been a very guided process. Things we haven't done. I bought a house many, many years ago, but don't remember any of that process. And it was a different state. It may have been different rules and so on. So it just took all that stress and work. There's some work involved, of course, but it was so easy to do. It's been
easy.
Yep, very easy. There's still things you have to get in place from your perspective, your own loan application, and get your finances in order, and all the bank stuff is still a little bit of work, but that whole market research, not everyone has access to the market research that's critical in these decisions. So that made it so easy. Initially we sort of thought, oh, that's a little bit expensive, but we weren't sure what to think. So,
and we didn't know about buyers agents and all that.
No, we'd never used one before.
We've never used one before. We had no idea what it's like. But we had this long conversation about what do we need to do ourselves if we don't do this?
If we didn't use a buyer's agent, what would we have to do? And it was an incredible amount of work that we didn't know anything about.
And we didn't have the time. And we did look at the fees for other buyers agents, and it was actually quite comparable. So, absolutely reasonable. And we already had that. You already had that relationship with Sanjeev, so it wasn't really a hard decision to make, especially afterwards when.
Oh, and at the time we're both working full time or even more than that.
Yeah.
And sitting there thinking, wow, where would we do any of this ourselves?
Yeah.
How would we even go to open homes and look at local properties, let alone anything interstate? It just wasn't an option. So that fee just seemed to be so easily justifiable that we felt so comfortable about it after just a chat. Yeah.
After the initial presentation, where Sanjeev showed us what data they had with the property that they chose, afterwards we thought, wow, that's really comprehensive. How would we have done that ourselves?
Good research, yeah.
The research.
Enough information to make that choice of do we buy this property or not, to make that really easy.
Yeah.
And
it does make your life a lot easier.
Yeah, especially if you're busy, both full-time working, and family, and various other things, and kids and travel and anything else that might be happening.
Yeah.
Definitely. We already are. We already are talking to some friends saying, hey, we'll pass on the contact details. Yeah. We're planning a second investment property, so we're going for round 2. We're just
getting information.
Out
yeah.
Yep.
So
yeah,
definitely
already finding people. We've already talked to friends that have done it themselves and saying, hey, think about this. They've got lots of stories about how much work they had to put into finding these properties, and I think it is getting more difficult. There's a lot of stories in the media, up or down or up. It's getting actually harder if you don't know how to research these things properly. It's getting harder to make a choice. I think the media keep sort of spinning things forwards and backwards. So yeah,
definitely. We're definitely
unless you're already an experienced investor.
Happy to refer.
Yep.